Hey, what's going on, guys? Heads here from Infinity Loops, and welcome back. Today we are taking a look at a new-ish goggle by Walksnail, the Avatar Goggles L. Now, before we get into the meat and potatoes of these goggles, let's go over just a few things to keep in mind throughout this review. Number one, these are built for a budget, so they are not going to be built with the greatest of materials or, in the highest form of production. It's going to be budget, and it's going to be budget for a reason, to save us on the consumer end some money. Secondly, these goggles are to work with the Walksnail system only. This will not work with DJI. This will not work with analog. So make sure if you are getting this system, you know that that is all you're going to be flying is Walksnail with these. And lastly, unlike other reviews, I have not used this product just yet. I actually am just going to go over what I know about it, what I see about it, my first impressions, and then give you my first impressions as well, recorded off of a lav mic while I'm flying it for the first time. Right at the top, how much are we spending? I keep saying budget. What does that mean? $200. $200 for a pair of FPV goggles in general is good. $200 for a pair of Walksnail goggles is really good. At first glance, I can tell you these are small. I was not expecting these to be as small as they are. I haven't used box goggles in a while, but I feel like the last pair I used were massive. These are very, very small form factor. Not a bad thing, just an observation. Just the initial look around on these, they are very clean. There's not a lot going on the shell outside of this. There's a few menu buttons here. Looks like we have 3 buttons and a small little bind button at the end there to make up our 4th. That first button is a button as well as a joystick, it appears, and that will probably be to work your way through the menus. And then there is a back button after that, and your DVR stop and record button and playback and all that stuff. Moving right along to the front here, I'm pretty sure this is a big LED across the front here. So we'll get this plugged in a minute when I go to do my product shots that you've probably already seen in the video. Now looking down here on the bottom of the goggles, we have our barrel jack plug, which is going to be for our power source. That usually is going to run to an XT60. I believe they had one in the box. And that will take 2 to 6S batteries. Also on the bottom, we have a little 3.5 millimeter jack, it appears. And I assume that would be used for something like head tracking, considering these goggles are capable of doing that. And it looks like we have our intake fan on the side here, and just one intake fan. The strap itself feels budget. It feels, thin. And this has a lot of play in it. I'm not sure how long the elastic's going to hold up in these, especially wrapping around my big noggin. But again, we're thinking budget here, and I'm sure that was much more budget friendly. If you wanted to do something aftermarket, maybe a fat strap, you could probably come up with something to attach to these little plastic mounting points on the goggles. I will let you know ahead of time, there is no slot in the plastic anywhere like you would see on Sky Zone or Fat Shark goggles. This is just a straight piece of plastic, so keep that in mind if you want to do something aftermarket. Is a LCD screen on the inside there, and that is a single lens straight across, and that is a single screen straight across. You have a split in that lens that looks kind of to give you that binocular look, magnifies on each side. There are 2 threaded holes there in the top of the goggles. I would assume for a diopter. I don't know what else you would attach there. There's vent slots on each side, which is going to be for keeping our lens nice and clear of fog. The screen itself is 1920 by 1080p, and I'm pretty sure this only does 60 frames. So it'll work with it'll work with all the Walksnail systems, but you'll only be able to max out at 60 frames per second. So also keep that in mind. The last thing I wanted to mention before we jump into some flights about these goggles, if you're looking, going, where are the antennas? Well, they're hidden inside of the goggles. There are 4 antennas on the inside, one of which transmits. And that's all I got to say about that. I'm excited to go give these a whirl. So today we're going to be flying the caddx Go Film 20, because why not? Just keep it all together, caddx-wise. All right, let's go fly these and see how it looks. So first off, the picture is very clear for an LCD. Looks good. I don't notice those little black lines that I saw the little fuzz I could see through the goggles. I don't notice it now. It does feel like there's a little bit of latency. I'm not doing much yet, but it feels like there is some latency, more than normal for Walksnail. The fitment on my face is like really bad. They fit okay on the forehead, but on my nose, they kind of like hang over the front of my nose. Like the tip of my nose is being pushed down by the plastic on the goggles, which is kind of uncomfortable. And it is slowly sliding its way further down. We'll go around the back of the house, see how the signal is. It's not too bad. It's directly behind me currently. A little stutter there. A little bit of breakup. Nothing too crazy though. Still very flyable. What's up, partner? The field of view in the goggles is a little intense. I feel like everything is really far away on the screen to look at. I tend to focus on the center of the screen, probably like most do when they're flying. And it's nice to be able to glance for stats real quickly, but this, I don't feel like I have to like stare down at the bottom of the screen to really be able to see it well. Other than that though, I mean, for budget goggles, these feel fine. Again, the latency does feel low, or not low, I'm sorry, the latency does feel higher, I should say, than what I'm used to with the Goggles X. It also feels really uncomfortable on my face, which is normal. It's pushing my nose down into my upper lip. But as far as picture quality, it's all right. It's good. We'll see how the DVR looks, but I feel like it should look pretty nice. If it's anything like what I'm seeing in the goggles. Oh God, whoa. Almost tanked the flag there. Yeah, as far as latency, it's not that bad. Now that I'm flying it a little more, it takes a minute to get used to it compared to the Goggles X. There's definitely like a feeling of more latency, although there might not be. It feels that way. But it's not taking me very long to get used to it, at least for me. It's very flyable. Very flyable at this connection. And we are basically completely behind our head at the moment as far as video is concerned, and still looks pretty good. There's a little bit of lag. It's gonna be very hard for you to spot, but I can feel it in the travel of the drone. I can tell it's kind of limping behind some places, right around here. Yeah, I'm getting real bad signal right here. But other than that, oh yeah, a lot more latency right there I can feel. Very different latency on the backside of the house. So I don't know how accurate that millisecond is down at the bottom of the screen, because I feel like it feels like more than that. I'm not an expert, but just off of feel, this feels like a lot more latency than what they're telling me there. Why is there a dog toy on the roof? Picture quality is all right. I'm gonna try it again in the morning when there's sunlight, because right now we're just kind of, I think it's about 6 p.m. right now on the East Coast. So it is about, we're past golden hour. It is dark now, basically, outside. But we are using the moonlight camera, so I guess it's gonna look a little brighter than it really is. But we'll try again tomorrow just in the sunlight, direct sun, to see if there's light leak or anything in the goggles that I'm not noticing now. And we're back. Check for light leak. Quite a bit. Quite a bit. I can actually see through the bottom of the goggles where my nose is. I can see the ground if I just look down a little bit. That might just be the fitment on my face, to be honest. My face does not fit in these well. Ooh, nice save. But as far as the field of view, it is too wide, I think. The field of view is a little robust. It could be toned down a little bit. But I can still see everything on my menus just fine. I can see the top of the screen to see my memory card and how much space is left on it. I got all my stuff in the bottom. So it's not bad field of view. It just takes a minute, honestly, to get used to, kind of adjust to that. It's a lot different than our normal goggles we're used to. But very doable. Not a whole lot of light leak. It's really just from where my nose isn't matching up with it very well. No, never mind. Now that I turn my head, I am getting some light leak on the sides. I guess it's not pressing that well up against the side of my face. So the right side when I turn my head to the right, left side when I turn to the left. Getting some light leak there. A little bit on the edges. Again, it's not anything unbearable or unflyable, but it is noticeable. Oh yeah, there's that latency. So quite a bit of noticeable latency down the street there. Obviously I'm pretty far away, but still. Very noticeable latency when I'm further away like that. Let's get some pretty cinematic shots, shall we? All right, let's bring her in, wrap this one up. Now, as you heard there from some of the flight audio that I recorded, during the daytime I was actually able to notice some light leaks on the side of the goggles, as well as being able to kind of look down while you were flying and see some grass and light leaks coming through around your nose. Right here, it sits very, very hard on the bridge of my nose, at least, just the shape of my face. It just doesn't work great for the bridge of my nose. The plastic seam of the goggles actually sits like right here. If they had completed the foam all the way across the bridge of the nose, it'd probably be better. Where that is exactly, it just sits. And it's top heavy or front heavy because they're box goggles, and the screen being at the front, being extended off of your face, kind of adds a little bit of forward weight. So you do feel that on the strap because it's not very tight on your head. Kind of feel them slumping a little bit. And that does cause them to sit right on the bridge of my nose. Very uncomfortable. But as far as the image quality and everything else about it, that was great. It's hard to judge goggles just on the fitment because everybody's face is going to be different. And I assume whoever designed these goggles probably didn't have a face or maybe a nose bridge as pronounced as mine. So I won't factor in the fitment too much. Much like the Goggles X, with the Goggle L, you get the same menu and the same binding process. It's all very simple and very straightforward. Other than all of that, I think these goggles are exactly what they say they are, which is a nice, easy budget way to get yourself into the Walksnail system. Save a couple $100s on your goggles, invest that money into something else, like maybe a Walksnail VTX or a quad to put that Walksnail VTX into. One of the biggest issues I normally hear from pilots getting into digital from analog is that it's very expensive to go through and replace all your VTXs with digital, and then one of the most expensive pieces usually being having to buy goggles. It's nice to see that Walksnail is taking the time to consider some people might want to get into this digital system and not break the bank in the process. So if you are one of those folks that is looking to get into the Walksnail system for a budget price, I would 100% look at the Goggles L. There's really not a whole lot of other options as far as Walksnail is concerned, that one being the most budget-friendly option out there. These, of course, are just my opinions, and I would love to hear yours in the comment section down below. Let me know. Are you planning on getting into the Walksnail system? Are you going to splurge for the Goggles X? Are you going to maybe try out the Goggles L, save a little money, cut some corners there, invest that money elsewhere into your build? Let me know. I'm very curious to hear what the community thinks of Walksnail reaching out to us that are trying to, like I said, ball on a bit of a budget. Finally, I want to thank caddx for sending out these Walksnail goggles and giving us a chance to check them out and give you our opinion on them. I'll leave a link down below where you can pick up a pair of these goggles for yourself. That is not an affiliate link though. That is just to make things a little easier on you if you were interested in picking them up. We hope you enjoyed this video. Take care of yourselves and we will see you in the next one.
I'm not seeing a storage bag there. Am I missing something here? I'm not seeing a storage bag. Okay, it's not in that. No. Okay, I don't appear to have a storage bag.
Oh, that's weird. They sent me 2 carrying bags.